I think everybody's purpose is in their story. What's your story? How did you come out of that story? And now you're using your story to save and empower other people. Then after a while, I wasn't getting fulfilled. And I only, my number one mantra is to do the things that make me happy. So if I'm not feeling happy in something, I automatically stop. But do you do that at the cost of your genuine peace and happiness? Because money doesn't bring joy.
Money doesn't bring joy. What brings joy?
Having a good heart, having a good community, having a good circle around you. I encourage everybody to have a form of outlet which lets you let out, where you get to think and think freely and think deeply and put it out.
So
1,000%.
2, 3.
To me, I would say what made it successful is that there was a no.
Guys, on today's episode of the Second Street Avenue, I am here with Miss Drew. When I was putting this together, I wanted to do it like how I do it every time. Mention the things she has done. Because she's an amazing event organizer. Mention the amazing things that I have had the opportunity to be at. I wanted to put all these things together. But I was like, hold on. I would want you people to hear from the horse's own mouth. But one thing I can tell you is that Miss Drew has been amazing. She's been changing lives, empowering young people. And mostly she says what? She's everybody's big sister. So if she's here today, then she's my big sister too. She's organized amazing events. Purple Hearts, 1,000, which is one of them that I have been privy to enjoy and hear people talk about. 1,000 was amazing. So guys, on today's edition of the Second Street Avenue, I'm having a conversation with Miss Drew. Welcome, Miss Drew.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be on your podcast. Wow.
Thank you for coming.
No problem.
I mean, let me just put the word out there. Miss Drew had every possible reason for this not to come on today.
That is true.
Like, every possible reason. She could have just said, no, I don't want to do this again. But she's here. And she has stayed with us. And she's doing it now. So I want to say a very big thank you to her. And God richly bless you for doing this with us. I mean, backstage, she told me that, which actually disappointed. And I'm not going to disappoint her.
I trust you. I believe in you.
So, Ms. Drew, tell me about yourself. Tell me who you are. How did you get here? The personality that you have. How did you get here?
Okay, so Drew is a big sister. I am a girl's girl. I have a great circle of friends. Drew is somebody who talks about myself in third person. Don't worry, I'm not mad. I just talk about myself in the third person. I know that my life mantra is to empower and inspire young people to live their best lives whilst chasing their dreams. And so I do that in many different capacities, whether that's through public speaking, whether that's through hosting events, whether that's through mentoring, whether that's through presenting, emceeing, whether that's through my YouTube channel, traveling. It's basically using my life to encourage people that they too can do it. I'm just a normal, average baby girl. Like, I'm not anything special. I'm a princess. And so, you know, everybody who can resonate with me can also see that they too can do when they look at my life.
Amazing. Amazing. You've lived in the United Kingdom. And then you moved to Ghana.
Right.
How did that happen? Did you ever think of staying here?
Oh no, never in my life did I even dream or think that this would be my life today. I was born and raised in the UK, and I then decided to move to Ghana after a traumatic experience, actually. It was my dad passed away. He was my best friend in the whole entire world. He died, and I just needed a break. And so I thought, let me just come to Ghana for some time. Like, it was meant to be just like a sabbatical, a life sabbatical. I wanted to take 5 months off life from anybody and just be by myself. And so I came to Ghana. But then while I was in Ghana, after 3 months, I just decided I was a little bit bored. And so I wanted to see chasing my actual dream, which is to be in the public space, be a presenter, see what that would have been like. And it ended up happening in Ghana in the space of 2 months. And then when it was time for me to go back to London, I was living the dream. So why am I going to go back to working to make somebody else's dream come true when I'm living my dream over here? And so That is how we initially ended up in Ghana. And would I ever go back to the UK? No. No. I have no plans of living in the UK again. I'll go back because I miss my friends, my family, all that kind of stuff. But Ghana is home now.
Do you know there are so many Ghanaians queued at the embassy who wants to go to the UK?
And it's sad.
Why?
It's sad
Why
because
is it?
I think when you're born and raised in a place, you never realize its value until it's gone. So you guys that are in Ghana that want to leave, you don't see how amazing and how beautiful Ghana is. Whereas when I was in the UK, I was born and raised there, so I know what it's like. I know how the people there are feeling. I know what the struggle and the stress is. And when I compare that struggle and stress to the Ghana struggle and stress, this Ghana struggle and stress is nothing.
Are you sure about that?
175,000%. I can put my life on that. And so now when you guys go, what happens is they'll go, oh, I'm just going to go for some 5 years, make my money and come back. And those people, they never come back.
What happens?
Because the struggle is real. The money that you make, it goes into taxes, it goes into bills, it goes into transportation, it goes into everything. So you don't really have enough money to enjoy. In London or the UK, it's very much you work to survive, but you don't get to work to really enjoy your money.
So are those there selling to us a false dream?
Well, think about your friends that have gone. How often do you hear from them? Were you hearing from them as much as when they were here? Now that they've gone a bit silent. Yeah, and it's not because life is great. It's because they are struggling. But you got to do what you got to do. You have to just put your head down, and it just is harder than it seems. And I feel like if people put that same energy that they are thinking that they're going to put in when they go to the UK, why don't you put that energy into Ghana and enjoy more? You'll become much more richer here. It's quicker to be a millionaire here than it is in the UK.
I was tempted to say Gisela, because I watched one of your videos and you said that Drew is Gisela.
Yes.
But I think, I'm talking to what you just said. In those countries, the system works.
The system does work.
When you work for something, you earn what you are supposed to earn. I think when people are complaining about Ghana, they're not saying give them a luxurious life or give them their dream life, but make systems work.
That one I agree.
Systems are not working.
A plus B brings C in the UK. And in Ghana, A plus J minus Q equals B, which doesn't make any sense.
That's not supposed to.
And so that is not supposed to be like that, and it is frustrating.
So I think that's where the frustration stems from when Ghanaian young men and women say they want to leave the country. Because they want to go in a system that when they put in the work, it's paying off. If you know that you are doing a 9 to 5, you are comfortable with that life, and that's what you want to do. When you put in the work, when you wake up in the morning, you know that you earn something, and there is meritocracy.
But do you do that at the cost of your genuine peace and happiness? Because money doesn't bring joy. Money makes the world go round, but would you rather really and truly have a mansion with no friends and no family to celebrate with?
Money doesn't bring joy. What brings joy?
Having a good heart, having a good community, having a good circle around you. If I had no money, but I know that I have good friends that even at my brokest time, they will share their last piece of bread with me. That's more happiness than dying in my big mansion, hungry and no one to come round with me. Not having any friends because I was so focused on making all that money that now I don't have anybody to even celebrate with because I've gone to the top and now my people are down at the bottom and I can't even bring them with me. Yeah.
Recently, I was doing a self-introspection. I was writing, like journaling.
I love that.
At the end of the day.
I love it.
Oh, this is something I don't like to share, but I can give you daily writing updates of my life for the past 3 years. Yeah.
I can give you the same.
Yeah.
Because journaling is a massive part of my life.
Because I am always trying to prune myself.
Good.
I'm trying to figure out, are we doing the right things? Today, was it like this? Today, we spoke to this person like this. Was it supposed to be so?
Oh.
Like, we did that. There was one time a man came to our office. And he was dressed in a particular way and manner. And my response to that man was a little bit different to the other people. So when I went to the house in the evening and I was journaling, I was asking myself that, would I have treated this man the same way if he was in a bigger car?
Wow.
And I was like, No. So when I'm going to work, I stand at a particular junction to pick the bus. And then from that day, there's a man who sweeps the streets. Whenever I see him, I say good morning to him.
That's so good.
Because I realized that subconsciously, I was judging the man according to his physical appearance. And that was awful.
But that's growth. It's
awful.
good that you're able to acknowledge that and also see it and do the changes, because not everybody can do that.
Yeah, because I'm always paying attention to myself.
Good.
I'm always looking at my thoughts. What are you thinking? Why are you doing this? I have so many scenarios. There was one time.
Wow.
National Service Days. So from childhood, you are in the first three. You are doing when we go to church, you are doing drama. You are at the center of stuff. People are applauding for you. Subconsciously, that can create some level of, you can become an attention-seeking, I wanted to use the F word, God forbid, but you can grow to become.
Yeah, it grows your ego.
Yeah, and then something happened, and I was like, Rudolph, like I said it out loud. Why did you do this to this guy? You don't always have to be at the center of things. It's okay to be at the back sometimes.
But not everybody understands that. And it also depends on their upbringing. If you've always been at the back your whole life, you do want to be at the top now. And it feels good at the top. And that's some sort of payback or revenge to the people that always put you at the back. But it's dealing with that past hurt and growing from that past hurt that you do daily that many people don't do. And that's why we have the country or the world that we live in, where you have people that are mean for no reason. You have people that are always moody. You have people that used to be really bubbly, but now they are very quiet because of the things that they have gone through. And so in the word, when it says, guard your heart, because out of the heart flows the matters of life. It's if you didn't deal with that bitterness that happened, or that incident that happened when you were 10 years old or 15 years old, when you're 33, it's going to begin manifesting and seeping into all other areas of your life. And that creates your characteristics and your personality.
That's very true. So that's one thing I've realized about myself. You touched on when you're coming to Ghana, because your dad passed away. Tell me the story about how that happened, the process, and how it affected your life.
Okay, so my dad was my best friend. Like I said, we talk about everything. I am daddy's girl. I'm daddy's girl. I'm daddy's princess. I think a lot of the things that have made my personality, which was the first question that you asked me, how did I get this personality, is because of the dad that I had. So the first person to show me what true love was my dad. He would tell me that he loves me every day. He would tell me that I'm beautiful. He would tell me well done, and praise you. So I got all of that. So when people come and tell me these things, it doesn't faze me or get into my head because, oh, my dad told me this already. Oh, I know this already. When I was growing up, these things have been instilled into my brain. So that's why I don't get easily fazed by compliments or easily fazed by big lavish things, because this is normal to me, you know? And I feel like that's how most people should be grown up, should be raised. So now, when my dad passed away to cancer, he was battling with that for about 6 years. Life was like, yo, what in the world is happening? What's going on? And obviously but I am the firstborn, so I'm the oldest out of my mum. And so it was a lot of pressure, having to look like everything is going well, be strong for everybody, but still grieve at the same time. And so when I was just like, no, I have to put myself first, because I can't show up as the best daughter or big sister or friend if I myself am basically bleeding. So I decided to do a hard thing, which was just shut everybody off and deal with Drew, heal, which was what my 5 months in Ghana was meant to be, which was an epic fail, because you cannot rush a grieving process. Grieving is different for everybody. It can be 5 months for somebody or 10 years for somebody. It's never the same for each person. And so now I've come to Ghana. I made that hard decision to be like, guys, I'm sorry, I have to put me first, because if I don't put me first, I cannot show up for you. And in that process, it was definitely difficult, but then, like I said, if you are anybody that has gone through grief before, you know that there are so many different stages. There's stages where you're angry at God. There's stages where you're just sad, the stages where you just want to do whatever and just live like it's your last day. You go through so many different phases until you actually deal with the main issue, which is the hurt. So it was a very interesting journey.
What you just told me, let's go deeper into healing.
Right.
What did you do? Give me the
What did
details.
I do to heal?
Yes.
Okay, so I can tell you honestly, the first 2-3 years, even though I thought I was healed, I was not healed. I started off partying all the time just to take my mind away. So I'd be in the clubs, I'd be drinking, I'd be living my best life.
You've lived that kind of life?
Oh, yeah. I've been outside, okay?
Big up one thing.
Come on, Miss Drew Bakope. So, you know, that was that. And then when you realize that it's not doing anything, because after the whole high is gone, you're back to normal, and it's just like, well, this is my reality, and the pain is still there. And then I ended up finding community, which I found community in Ghana. In the UK, I already had my community, like my girls, but there's a difference between doing things virtually and in person. So I found a community of girls. There's a Bible study called Heart to Heart, a Bible study called Not Easily Broken. And I found some mentors if I go into these communities. And this is where this is where I got introduced to journaling, where it is really just writing down. And it's interesting because I always used to journal, but I wasn't consistent. But like you, I got to a stage where it's every single day. How do I feel? Why do I feel like that? What happened today that made me smile? What am I grateful for today? What didn't I get? But how do I change my perspective on this thing? And maybe what can I do better the next day? And this is what I write about daily. This is what I talk about daily. And really also being very transparent, honest, I call it hot, honest, open, and transparent with my feelings. So if today I am really sad, what is the root of this sadness? Or today I was really irritated, I was really agitated, what happened? Okay, I woke up and I was tired when I woke up. Why were you tired when you woke up? Because I went to sleep late. Why did I go to sleep late? Because I was on Instagram. What was I doing? How long was I on Instagram? I was on Instagram for 5 hours. Was that beneficial to my life? Did I get anything from it? Doing all of that deep, finding out what the root is. When you find out what the root is, you know whether it needs to be uprooted or whether it needs to be watered. And so that is the way I have learned to heal myself. And of course, I cannot do it with anybody else but the help of God. I have a very strong relationship with God.
So 1, God.
1000%.
2,
community.
Community. 3, journaling.
Yes.
Let me take my questions like that. Let's go. So 1, the way your father brought you up gave you some self-esteem. And recently, I came across something on the internet that was saying that our definition of love is what we lacked when we were younger. And so you have a lot of young girls out there that did this, especially those with no father figures.
Yeah.
Thinking that the opposite of the things you mentioned is what love is. But you think it's something else. How did your upbringing affect your relationships, as in not with friends, but with maybe your partner? What are the demands that you put on a relationship now?
I think because, again, I would definitely put my hands up and say I have been privileged because both my parents were together until my dad passed away. I wasn't raised in a single parent home. My dad wasn't not there or came to see him on the weekends. It wasn't like that. So I did grow up with both families together. It was not a broken home. And so from that, I was able to see, okay, my dad is here. What he provided was for the house was security. When your dad is there, you know that you are protected. You know that you are covered. He then openly and verbally showed and spoke love, instilled that into us as me and my siblings. And you would see that he would do that same thing with my mum. So I'm able to see what the house is looking like. And so for me, when I go into a relationship, all I want from a relationship is what I know. And what I know is a guy that loves everybody, loves the house, looks after the house, provides, knows how to speak well. Is not, and some people would say, oh my gosh, that's impossible, that's a dream man, you're asking for too much. But to me, it's not too much because I've seen it physically in my life. It's real. I've seen it happen. I didn't make it up. And so what often happens is people, when we bring it back to God, people find it difficult to have a relationship with God because they don't have a relationship with their physical father. You cannot see God as a father if your actual father wasn't there. It makes it hard for you to relate with him. So you get some people that see God as, he's just a master and I just have to obey. I'm his servant. You have some people that's like, he's my Lord and whatever he says, go. But I see God as my dad. Now that my physical earthly father is gone, you are my dad. So my dad who in real life would provide for me, I go to God to provide. My dad who would show me love and speak love into me, I go to God to show me that love. My dad who would wipe my tears when I'm sad, God does that for me.
So you found your absent father in God?
Yeah.
During your healing process?
During my healing process. And now I've clung onto that.
I mean, you spoke about writing helping you incredibly. I think writing is one of the magical things. You see, the thing about these things is that if you don't do them, you think they are cliche.
1000%. If you haven't done it before, you will go with your own assumptions.
You think it's cliche, but
even
writing,
therapy. When people say therapy, like, oh, I don't need to tell a stranger my business. When you get there, you'll realize that
when you write, it helps.
1000. It is self-therapy.
It helps. It really helps.
It's an outlet. I constantly ask people, what is your outlet? Do you have an outlet? Somewhere where you just offload everything that is on your mind.
Transparently.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And if it's not right, it doesn't have to be writing. Maybe some people are like, oh, I don't like writing. I don't have time to write. Okay. Some people can do it with poetry. Some people can do it with singing. Some people can do it with going to the gym. Some people can do it with a hobby. But you have to always, I encourage everybody to have a form of outlet which lets you let out, where you get to think and think freely and think deeply and put it out of your mind.
I think, one thing that has also helped me is reading and the things I read. Yeah, so about a week or two ago, I took a long walk in my area. We have a ring road where I live, and I was walking and I was tired, I was sad. I was like, what's happening? Am I making the right decisions? Am I making the choices I'm supposed to make? I didn't even talk to the closest person to me. She asked me what's wrong. I said, I just want to go to bed. The next day, I released an episode on the 2nd Street Avenue, the audio version. And I was doing what I had to do. I had a great day at the office. I came back and then I wrote. So yesterday you were feeling like this. Today you are feeling like this. Why? And then quickly, it took me to the fact that every single thing is temporal. Like, just what you have to, your perspective is what matters. But everything is temporal. When you're excited, it's temporal. When you're happy, it's temporal. When you are sad, it will go. And so I had work to do that night. I didn't do it because I felt like, okay, I felt awful. So let me just go to bed. And I was like, no, it doesn't have to happen like that, because life is a very long journey, but it's very short. And that means it's temporary. And in between that space that we are here, the awful days are going to be a lot. The great days are going to be a lot. They are going to come. And if you say you are just going to allow each and every one of them, you are going to allow success to get into your head because you just got a lot of, like, a few people giving you compliments, it's going to mess you up. And same as allowing negativity to also do that, the same thing. This wasn't how I wanted to start the whole thing, but this is where we are now.
Okay.
When you are not being misdrew, what are you doing? When you're not on the go, talking to the girls, trying to put an event together, trying to get people going, what do you do?
I am a granddaughter. So I sit with my grandmas and I talk to them about their day. I read a book. I read the Bible. The Bible actually, this never used to be me, but there are stories, there are books in the Bible that are just stories that seem like movies. And I get excited by that. I listen to neo-gospel music. I find different genres of gospel music and I listen to it.
Tell me about some stories in the Bible that look like a movie to you.
Oh my goodness. The one that I'm reading recently, what I just finished, is David and Goliath. Now, we've all heard it already before. I'm sure everybody, even in Sunday school, you've heard the story of David and Goliath. But when you sit down and you go with a fresh perspective, I'm just going to read it like I'm watching a movie. You actually see like all the different movie scenes. And then at the end, when David and Jonathan are best friends and their friendship is departing and they're like, I have you for life, but I'm still gonna have to go to my father who's trying to kill you. I've got you. Like, what? It's like a serious, like, gasping moments, crying moments, emotional moments. And then you're just like, wait, hold on. This is actually the Bible? Like, what? This is the Bible? Yo.
And then Jonathan gives birth to who?
Mephibosheth. Yes.
And then David comes after some time.
David comes after some years and he still holds on to that oath that they made like how many years ago, even though Jonathan is dead.
Is there anybody in this house?
Is there anybody? And it's like, nah, David, you're a real one. You're a real one.
That's a broski.
Listen, my G that. My G. What?
Yeah.
No. And you know, for the girls, the description of David is tall, dark, handsome, with beautiful eyes. Go and read your Bible.
What was in there?
It's in there. It talks about David, Jesse's son. He came and he was a dark-haired, beautiful-eyed, handsome guy. And I'm like, that's where tall, dark, handsome came from. The Bible. So David was a spice. Hey.
There was this meme I saw on the internet, I think like a month ago. And then the person said, the first thing I'm going to do when I get to heaven is call David to a dance battle. You know,
like for real.
Okay, I've heard that you actually danced and then you took your clothes off.
Right.
Are you that good? Okay,
Let's
bring it
go.
on. The first time I heard about you, I saw you on TV.
Okay.
But now you don't do TV anymore.
No.
So what do you do?
So instead of TV now, I do events. And I basically do my own thing. But TV, I love TV. I would say actually out of TV and radio, I love radio. Radio is my first love. Like I was always like, I have a voice for radio, but a face for TV. So doing TV in Ghana was an experience. I guess it was a stepping stone to get Drew out there so people know who this Mizz Drew is. But then after a while, I wasn't getting fulfilled. And I only, like my number one mantra is to do the things that make me happy. So if I'm not feeling happy in something, I automatically stop because time is something that I never get back. Like if I'm waiting for somebody for 1.5 hours, no shade, I am never going to get this 1.5 hours back in my whole entire life.
Oh, God.
So I want to make sure that I'm using my time wisely. So if something that I'm not passionate about, I'm not excited about, I don't even like it, why am I still going? And so when it came to TV, I enjoyed being on screen, but I didn't enjoy what I was talking about. I felt like it wasn't a good representation of me anymore, like being a gossip girl. Mizz Drew, he's still your hostess with the mostest, but with a different twist on it now. But it was, I'm talking about celebrities, what this person is wearing, or this one is beefing this person, or this person. I got to a point I'm talking about celebrities who have dropped new songs, and I've never listened to their songs in my own time. Like, that's not even the junk music I listen to. So I didn't want to be a hypocrite, I would say. And so I was like, no, this is who I am, this Drew, and I don't want to be putting on a different persona. That's not me. So I stopped that, and now YouTube is the main one. We do have a lot of things coming out, but the main focus right now is doing events to empower and inspire young people to live their best lives and chase their dreams. But you cannot even begin to live your best life and chase your dream if you haven't healed. And so that's why with these events that I do, it's packaged amazingly, 1,000 Purple Hearts, but we deal with matters of the heart. It's healing first. It's dealing with your issues, sharing your story, hearing other people's story, which sometimes you can relate to somebody's story or their story can inspire you or uplift you. And then from that, when you do that internal work, then we move on to, all right, now what is that gift that God has given you? And how can you use that gift to make money?
Incredible. So as you transition to organizing events, you spoke about not being fulfilled when you were on TV. which of these events has given you the most fulfillment?
Oh, both of them. Both of them. Because I guess maybe because they both do the same thing. But Purple Hearts and 1,000, they're brother and sister, and I'm the mum.
I've not even thought about it like that.
Yes.
So Purple Hearts is for girls.
Purple Hearts is for
women,
girls.
and we.
It's for women. And 1,000
Guys,
is for women.
I was at 1,000.
Yes.
Yes.
See? So give a quick synopsis on how you felt.
You can't.
Firstly, when you saw 1,000, what did you think it was about?
Okay.
What was it about? Now, how do you feel afterwards?
One, you can go check out my Instagram.
Hey.
I gave a detailed.
I loved that as well.
I gave a detailed
synopsis breakdown.
something like that of what I learned at 1,000, and I got something that stuck with me forever.
Which
Let's
is
start from there.
amazing. That's impact.
So in March, I'm going through my socials, and then I see one of my Baba. I call him Baba. I see one of my Babas post an event, 1,000, a gathering of strong men. That's
What comes to mind?
What came to mind?
When you hear a gathering of strong men,
It resonated with me.
really?
Yes.
I love that.
Yes. And then when I went to 1,000, I saw something that said that you are a mighty man of valor, and there are great nations in your loins.
Come on.
I was like, this is me.
Yes.
This is what I am.
Oh, Holy Spirit, thank you.
And so I reached out to my Baba. Baba said this. I paid. And then I was sharing this on my socials.
I love
I was telling people about it. That guys, let's go for this. Let's go for this. On my Snapchat, I was telling them about
That's so
it.
amazing. You still didn't even know anything about it.
No. And
You
then
didn't even know what to expect.
No. And I told my Baba that, Baba, please, is there something I can do to help you? Because I thought it was his event.
Yeah.
And then he said, oh, for now, just show up. But then later he gave me a responsibility. I don't want to go there. And then I get to 1,000. And let me tell you what I learned that I think it will stick with me forever. So there was a speaker called Mr. Akita. I would absolutely love to have Mr. Akita on the Second Street Avenue.
Come on.
And Mr. Akita was talking about, we were talking about relationships. I am way younger than the people I met there. They are senior colleagues. Some are 10 years older than me. And Mr. Akita spoke about a woman being your helper. So prior to 1,000, I thought, okay, to be a man in a relationship means that to be the one who was holding the woman.
Everything, yeah.
And then Mr. Akita comes and says that the scripture said that, and God said, I shall give you a helper. And that was Eve.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So in natural and under normal circumstances, if somebody is helping somebody, it means the person who is helping the other person is stronger.
Right.
Than the person, because if you are helping me, it means you are stronger than I am.
Yeah.
In that area that you are trying to help me.
Mm-hmm.
So that means my partner, who is a woman, is stronger than I am in certain key areas. And that was like, it was an eye-opener. Recently, I was talking to her about the closest person, like my girl, about it. And I was telling her that, yeah, this is what I learned. I shared that with her. I was like, okay. So
what was her response?
So that she's always like, So
She wants to be at Purple Hearts. Girl, we waiting for you at Purple Hearts, okay.
so that's what she said. She's like, I was like, oh yeah. So in natural fact, she thinks like I am the better among the two of us. I was like, no. And clearly, I thought about it, and I was giving her like solid scenarios where she's way better than I am.
Good.
Like,
you're a good man.
Like she's way better than. She's way better.
And to be a strong man is to be able to acknowledge that, because not many men want to acknowledge that. Okay, there are some things that my girl is better at than I am, or there are some things that I do need help for. Majority of men feel like they must carry the world on their shoulders. I must be the muscle man and I must do everything. That's why I'm so happy that you were able to resonate with the gathering of the strong man, because some people thought the strong man means only guys with muscles. Oh, it's coming to be a weightlifting competition.
No, the physical part of it is equally important. You cannot be, I mean, all the niggas that came for 1,000, we were usually in good shape. I have actually lost weight. But when I came, I had been in the gym for a couple of months.
It's not about being in the gym, guys. The strong man is a strong man internally. Don't even listen to him because he's changing the point.
No.
A strong man is letting you guys know that being vulnerable, it's not a weakness.
That's one part to it. I'm not disputing that.
Good.
But I'm saying that your physical and your health is equally important.
1000%. You only have one body. Your body is a temple.
It's equally
you must look after it.
It's equally. So that's what I learned from 1,000. I mean, when you said I'm a good man, I wanted to say that. I mean, I have my flaws, but
of course.
but
at least you can acknowledge them.
Yeah.
Not many people can acknowledge them. That's the issue. That's the problem that we face here. When you are wrong, they are wrong and strong. They are wrong. They don't care whether they are wrong, but they want to stand in their wrongness. That's an issue. To me, you get more respect if you are wrong and then you come back and say, do you know what? I realized I made a mistake. I am actually wrong in this part. And then we can move on. If you do not know how to apologize, that's a trait that guys, some guys have. It's like, this is the way it's been. This is the way I do it. This is the way I'm taught. So this is the way it should be. I mean, I met a guy one time who, there was stew. There was some soup where there is fish in the soup, meat in the soup, chicken in the soup. And he was like, never. That is not how we're meant to eat soup. Soup is only meant to be either or fish or either or goat or either or chicken. And I'm like, huh? What do you mean? And he is like, no, this cannot be soup. How can you live your life like this? It's either goat soup or fish soup. It's not mixed. And I was like, but just because that's how you were raised and brought up, it doesn't mean that this way is wrong. It doesn't mean me too, I'm born in the jungle, that I have roundabouts in my soup. And this is what I mean about guys being able to acknowledge or see things from a different perspective. If I was born and raised in this way, and this is why me being from the UK and coming to Ghana, that was a massive thing I had to deal with, that the way things are done in London are not the way things are done in Ghana. And so I cannot keep getting frustrated that I've gone to the bank and I'm sitting there for 5 hours. I can't. Whereas in London, I don't even need to go to the bank. I'll be in my bed and I'll make a phone call. They will move the money, send it over, put it in this account, send it to you, and it's finished, done. I continue sleeping. I needed to understand that things are done differently in different places, but it doesn't mean that either way is wrong. And so when it comes to guys, being a strong man is being able to see things from a different perspective as well and respect people's perspectives. That's the key word, respect people's perspectives. Because some people are like, nah, that's not how it's done. This is how we do it. The one question I ask all the time in Ghana is why. If you're telling me, oh, we have to use our right hand. Okay, that's fine, but why? Why? It's just how it's done.
How do people react to that? When you ask them why?
They get offended. And the only reason they get offended is because they don't know the answer. And you only are going to get offended because you don't know the answer and you are feeling stupid for not knowing the answer and doing something that you don't even know why you do it. And that's why you get offended. But Drew will always be like, but why? And I'll wait for you to tell me, but this is how we do it. But why? And who is the one that started this then? Who is the one? Let me know. Explain to me. Oh, this is how it's done. It's Ghana. No.
It's what?
It's Ghana. And so yeah, I always want to know why. And that goes down to me personally, because I always have to ask myself why. And when I find out why, that's where I find out the root. That's where I find out whether this seed is a good seed or a bad seed. So nobody can tell me we are all going to walk to Makola on Sundays. Why? Oh, because we have to. But why? What's the reason? If I find out that the reason you guys are doing it is nonsense and I can actually use my car, I'm going to use my car.
Have you ever had a conversation with an atheist?
Yes.
Okay. Have you asked an atheist the why to their belief, and have they been able to tell you the why?
They weren't able to tell me the why, but one thing that happened in that conversation, and majority of conversations that I do have with atheists, is that they're quick to deflect. So again, when somebody doesn't know the answer and they feel embarrassed and they just want to say something else, they'll deflect and change it. They'll change the question or give a different example, which you still haven't answered my original question.
Do you know why I'm asking you that? Because the why question is the root of logic and science. But the people who claim that they are very logical don't like that question.
Right.
That's why I'm asking you that.
See?
Because Science is basically saying the rain falls at 4 p.m. for a period of 10 years. Why?
Why?
And people who think they are intellectually powerful they get frustrated when you ask them why.
Yeah.
To add to what you were saying about being open to different opinions and perspectives. Once again, Apostle Joshua Selman, one of my big babbers. So, the people in my circle say that if the man comes to Ghana, I should let him know the impact he has had in my life.
Of course.
One time he was preaching, and this is what he said. This has actually gone in a different way. He said that if people can automatically predict where you come from after so many years, then there's a problem. Let me explain that. For instance, when somebody sees you, automatically they say, let me speak to you. I just say, how? The way you are talking and the way you are doing your things shows that you are from this place. Like, just from one encounter, that means you've not progressed. You've not worked on yourself. You've not changed anything. Like, somebody should be able to see you and say, okay, you said you are from here. Oh, really? Is that where you are coming from? Be open to new things. Be open to new conversations. Is it working? If it's not working, then let's change it. For instance, on marriage, men and women, when I talk to some of my friends, like, you cannot still hold on to the kind of marriage that you knew when you were growing up as a young man. There are certain parts of it that's still important. But things have evolved.
1,000%.
Things have changed.
75,000%.
A lot of things have changed. When I was growing up, my mom was in the kitchen. My dad would go to work. By the time he comes home, food is ready. I'll go to school. By the time I come home, she'll come and call me, food is ready. Now, my girl also wants to get a degree. My girl wants to do great things. So that means if I know that I want to get married to that particular kind of girl, I should know that I am never going to come back from work and come and meet a fresh cooked meal to come and eat.
Doesn't mean never, but it doesn't mean never, but it's you understanding that if she was too tired to cook today, maybe I can cook. And if you don't know how to cook, then at least the Lord has given you money to buy. You can order food. But it's not now she's come back from a long day of work and she's tired and now you are enforcing, no, because my mum always cooked for my dad, you two must always cook for me. That, I totally agree. We are evolving. Sometimes it's shared responsibility. Sometimes now the woman earns more than the guy and the guy is a stay-at-home dad. But that's a guy not being insecure. It doesn't mean you're not strong because maybe your woman has a different job than you.
How do you make something like that work where your woman is earning more than you do?
It depends on the guy.
Let's not pretend as if it doesn't bruise your ego.
Right, and that's why I said it depends on the guy. If you are a very secure man, you are not it will only bruise your ego if you are insecure. Because just because she might make more money than you, it doesn't mean that you still can't provide the necessities of the house. It still doesn't mean you cannot bring security to the home. It still doesn't mean that you cannot do all the duties a man is supposed to do just because she is earning more than you. Like, and then sometimes it's like guys thinking too small. You can be earning 100,000 a month and she's earning 150,000 a month. With your 100,000 a month, you can still look after the house, can you not?
You can.
Right. So why are you upset? Because you're still doing what a man is supposed to do. Just because she earns more, what's the problem? But it all boils down to the root. Why are you so insecure? You need to have secure men. And that's the issue. And so because they don't feel secure is why, unfortunately, maybe ladies like me seem intimidating to a guy. And so it's like, oh no, she's not my type because, oh, she looks like she already has everything already. So I want to stay far. And they will probably get somebody that looks judging by appearance, not even getting to know that, oh, she's a little bit, lower class, I can control her. And that is the mentality that needs to change.
From your perspective, what makes a man secured?
What makes a man secure? Like I said, it goes back to having confidence in himself. Firstly, who does your confidence lie in? Your confidence needs to be in God. straight up and down, no questions about it. When your confidence is in God, there is absolutely nothing anybody can tell you to make you feel any way. Because for me, you can tell me, oh, Drew, you're ugly, Drew, you're never going to be nothing. I'll be like, okay, that's your opinion, but I know the truth. For a man, if your confidence is in Christ as your foundation, there is nothing that can happen or be said to you that will make you insecure. If you know who you are and you know what you bring to the table, just because maybe a situation to the outside world doesn't look favorable, you and your partner know what's up. So it doesn't matter what people say. Somebody that doesn't care about the opinions of others, but he lives for an audience of one, which is God.
You mentioned one. What are the others? You mentioned your relationship with God.
I mentioned that's the foundation. That will build your security straight up. Having a foundation, your confidence in God, your confidence in yourself, knowing what you can do, not allowing the opinions of others, not allowing the voices of having. There are trusted voices that you must have. Maybe you have a mentor, you have a pastor, or you have a therapist. That these are your top 3 trusted voices that you only care about what they say to you. And even that, whatever they say to you must be in line. Everything, the foundation goes back there. So in order for me to be secure, if you're secure in Christ, then I know that you'll be okay.
Right. This year I've been praying so much about it.
Wow.
Getting men.
Oh, no, it's important. You have to have at least somebody that you can look up to. And it's hard find me one. And what happens is they will come to you.
Yeah.
Don't go chasing, looking for a role model. They will come to you.
I mean, when I was praying to God about it, later on, recently, I was like, in actual fact, the things I'm asking for, God has actually given me men in this journey that I am on. Men who I can go to for advice. But there are certain areas that I still need some men. And so I'm still looking out and praying for that.
And it will come.
And that's very, very important. We are still in the relationship bracket. Let's do a final one, then we'll switch to other things. You've lived in the UK.
Right.
You've lived in different demographics. You've traveled. When I checked your YouTube, you guys go check your YouTube out. You've been to 35 countries in Africa, right? You've met different people. You've had conversations with numerous kind of people. What do you think makes a relationship work?
Communication. Communication is the bottom line. Communication, talk. If I've done something to you, instead of sitting in your feelings and getting upset about it or, talk to me about it. Have those hard conversations. Do you know what? You said something that you said it as a joke, but I didn't like it. It's being able to tell the truth in an honest way, respectful way, saying it at the correct timing, and also just being transparent. That's it. Communication changes everything. I could be so angry about the way you spoke to me, but if I tell you about it, you'll be like, do you know what, Drew, I'm sorry. When I was on the way, this person really pushed me and it really put me in a bad mood. I'd be more understanding than just being like, you're a rude person and I don't want to speak to you ever again. Mm-hmm. Communication in relationships, friendships, all types of ships. Communication is fundamental because people always make assumptions, but assumptions make a fool out of you.
Interesting. Communication
builds all relationships with teachers, with work colleagues, with bosses, with family, parents, with partners.
Mm-hmm. All right. I mean, I want us to, we are almost wrapping up on the episode. You've shared a lot of insightful and great stuff. Very, very cool stuff. But let's get this is my last question when it comes to the technical part of it. You organize events. You do beautiful stuff. People come to your event and then they leave
feeling impacted. That's the aim.
And transformed.
100%.
What makes an event successful?
What makes an event successful?
In the industry in which you find yourself, the space in which you find yourself.
And that's interesting because I don't know anybody in my space. I've never been to an event like mine before.
Okay, then what makes your event successful? You will say it's impactful. I agree with you on that. But what other thing?
It also, again, depends what is success, because what I deem as success is different to what you deem as success.
That's true.
So that is a very tricky question. To me,
Yeah.
I would say what made it successful is that God was in the room for me. But for somebody else, it would be it was sold out, which was, that it was packed, everything went smoothly, and I got good reviews. That's to the outside world. To somebody, that means that Drew's event, 1,000 Purple Hearts, is successful because everyone she goes to, every Purple Hearts or 1,000 is packed. People have fantastic testimonies, and you have a great time. It's not just vibes. It's information, it's impact, and it's transformation. But for me, personally, what makes an event successful for me is when I know that God was in the room.
I mean, that's a good point. When it comes to the relativity of success,
It's different to everybody.
Everybody. Even in life in general, what we all want from life is different.
Yeah, because I can ask you, what does success look like to you?
For now, I would say that finding the things that I want to do that would outlive me.
Okay.
That would mean I'm successful.
For me, success is having a good circle of people around me. I feel very successful knowing that if today anything was to happen to me, I would lose my house, God forbid, will go on fire. I know that I have somewhere I can stay. That's success to me.
That's very important.
And it's very different.
Very different. Very, very different. When you hear the word success or successful, who comes to mind?
It's very difficult because I don't really have role models.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have role models like that per se, that I would say are, like big celebrities or big known, well-known people that I want to be like. So yeah, but again, I would just say, there are different friends and family members that I would say have fulfilled their purpose in life, and that is you being successful. Whatever your purpose is, and you have done
How
it.
does one find their purpose in life? Because you hear it a lot. People say it a lot. People say, find your purpose in life. Because sometimes I feel like if we are not able to clearly articulate what these things are and let people understand it, it sounds so cliche and so so they put you in that bracket like you are a deep something, deep. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we should be able to break down things the simplest form for people to understand.
Yeah.
So when you say finding your purpose, how do I find my purpose?
I think everybody's purpose is in their story. What's your story? And how did you come out of that story? And now you're using your story to save and empower other people. That is you walking in your purpose. To me.
All right. Amazing, guys. Thank you.
I wonder if he's saying interesting because he has nothing to say, or if he's just like, rah, this girl is not answering the question that I wanted
No. I think it's part of it. Okay, if I'm answering my own, if I was in your seat and I was answering this question, how do you find your purpose? That should be part of it. Your uniqueness. I believe that
when you understand your story,
yes,
you know what you're
on one of the episodes that we did with Parkwisi Fosun, we were talking about how unique all of us are. And when you break it to the smallest genetic whatever, it's still different, even biologically. And then when you come to the social level, the people we meet, our upbringing, the conversations we've had, even you driving from a location to another, what you experience, what you see, every iota of experience never goes wasted. It forms part of your story. And that's how incredibly unique we are. We are never the same. And so that would be part of it. That would be really part of it. But another way you can also find your purpose, to me, in my opinion, is that there are certain things that give you illumination than others.
Yeah, there are certain things you feel more fulfilled doing. And that all boils, what's the root? Why do you feel fulfilled in this?
Yeah.
What's your story?
Yeah.
So before you get here, before you see the tree, you have to see the seed.
Yeah.
And so I've given you the seed, but you've just given me the tree. You said the same thing.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for coming.
Anytime.
Thank you. As I said from the beginning, you had every reason to say this wasn't going to work, but you still showed up. And thank you. I'm sincerely grateful, and we will put it out. When people come on the Second Street Avenue, I ask them rapid fire questions.
Okay.
3 of them.
All right.
So we are going. What's a hill you die on?
The cross. I don't think I have a hill that I would ever die on. I would sincerely make sure I just died to please Christ. That's all. Unless I'm not understanding your question, but if I think about dying, it is sacrificing myself for the glory of God.
Great. Let me paraphrase this from another perspective. In the society in which we find ourselves, what is an opinion that you hold, that you believe, that no matter what anybody says, you are not going to change it?
Yeah, nobody can do me like me. Nobody in this world can do Mizz Drew like Drew.
All right, that's right. What's an experience that changed your life?
My dad dying.
Interesting.
Oh, I'm so sorry, but
Why?
I feel like I'm giving you too deep of answers and you want things that are a bit more fluffy, and I don't know how to be like that.
No.
Okay, continue.
No.
Yeah, that definitely changed my life.
The goal is to get you to say the most honest things that you want to say.
Right.
We have a direction in which the conversation should go, but then we don't determine that. And most of the beautiful things that come out of life are not even as planned as you think it is.
There you go.
So the true thing is just say your truth.
100%. I always will.
I mean, I wish we could go a little bit deeper when it comes to the death of your father.
Yeah.
But when I was doing the introduction, I said that certain things happen to us. We don't even know the outcome of it, but it turns out to be the most beautiful thing that happened.
1000%.
And that's the story that you are putting out. And because of that, generations of young girls, young men are getting transformed by just that thing that happened into your life. It was a dagger that was like it went so into your heart. But then you've looked into the abyss, and now you've actually, like a phoenix, the ashes was there, you went down, and now you are coming up like that.
Amen.
You understand? So it's, I don't expect the conversation to go in a particular way. It's a flow.
Yeah.
Let's talk. It's a conversation. And so whatever you think is true, and you spit it, I'm good.
But that's all I would do.
Because I don't know who is watching and how what you are saying is going to impact them. I have no idea.
Of course.
It could be possible that this will go as a short. Somebody is just scrolling to TikTok, and then they just chance on something that alters their perspective of life forever. So I don't determine that at all. The last rapid fire question, then we wrap up. In one sentence, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Advice I would give to my younger self would be, don't rush. Take your time. Everything will happen. If it's meant to be, it will be. So take each day as it comes and enjoy each day, and deal with tomorrow when tomorrow comes.
Thank you for sticking and staying with us on today's episode. Ms. Drew, do you have any question for me, or is there anything you want to tell me? Then we wrap it up.
No, I'm good. Just don't disappoint me.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
All right.